Many students find the three major sociological perspectives confusing. You read about structural functionalism, conflict theory, and symbolic interactionism, but they sound like three separate theories with no clear link. One reason for this confusion is the way they are usually taught, in the wrong order, or at least not in a very useful order. Most textbooks begin with Durkheim and his idea of social order. But the story of sociology does not begin there. It begins earlier, with Karl Marx, who saw not order but conflict. And the last figure in this trio is Max Weber, who emphasized how humans make meaning. In this video, I am going to tell you the story in right order, how sociology moved from conflict to order, then to meaning. This way, you will not get confused anymore. So let's start. Karl Marx lived in 19th century Europe. This was a time when the world was changing faster than ever before. Factories were replacing small workshops, machines were replacing manual labor, and cities were filling up with workers who had left their villages in search for jobs. The Industrial Revolution had created enormous wealth for a few, but for most people, it meant long working hours, crowded living conditions, and little security. Old social ties were breaking down, and a new kind of inequality was taking shape, not between kings and peasants, but between owners and workers. It was in this world of rapid change and deep division that Marx began to ask his central question: who really benefits from this system? His answer was clear. It was the people who owned factories, land, and capital were getting all the benefits. And those who actually work, the laborers, were getting only a small part of the value they created. Marx said society is not a family living in harmony. It is a battlefield where classes fight over resources and power. The rich, the bourgeoisie, control the means of production. The poor, the proletariat, sell their labor just to survive. He called this system capitalism and believed it produced deep exploitation. Even culture, religion, and education, he argued, were shaped by economic power. For Marx, real change came only through struggle, class conflict. Marx didn't call himself a sociologist, but his way of looking at the world through the lens of conflict and power became one of sociology's strongest traditions. Marx helped us see that beneath the surface of society there is struggle, a constant contest over wealth and power. But his picture of the world was intense, full of conflict and revolution. The next generation of thinkers growing up in the same industrial world began to wonder, if society is full of tensions and inequalities, what stops it from falling apart? If people and groups keep pulling in different directions, how does society still function as one? When everyone is busy chasing their own interests, what holds society together? These questions shaped the work of Émile Durkheim, who came a few decades later. Durkheim admired Marx's honesty about inequality, but wanted to build something different, a stable science of society that could explain both change and order. Durkheim lived in the 19th century France, a world already transformed by industrialization. He was not interested in revolution. He wanted to build something lasting, a new science, the science of society itself. In fact, he became the first professor of sociology in the world. He wanted sociology to be as reliable as physics or biology. Those sciences study stable patterns in nature and look for universal laws. In the same way, Durkheim wanted to discover the laws that govern social life. To do that, he needed society to appear as something stable, not constantly in conflict or chaos. So, while Marx was writing about conflict and exploitation, Durkheim asked a different question: how is social order possible? What keeps society stable when everything around it is changing? Durkheim compared society to a living body. Just as the heart, lungs, and the brain each have different functions that keep the body alive, the family, religion, and education each play a role in keeping society in balance. The family nurtures and socializes children. Religion gives shared beliefs and moral boundaries. Education teaches discipline and skills for working life. If one part of the social body fails, say the education system weakens, other parts try to adjust. For instance, families or religious groups may take a stronger role to maintain social order. For Durkheim, this interdependence between parts was what made social life possible. It explained why society did not fall apart even when individuals pursued their own interests. The functions of different institutions created a kind of moral and structural equilibrium, a steady rhythm that kept the whole system alive. Of course, Durkheim was not blind to problems like crime or poverty. He saw them as temporary disturbances, signs that something in the social body needed repair. In a way, Durkheim was not rejecting Marx, he was completing the picture. He gave sociology its foundation, its structure, and its method. But his focus on structure and order left one big question unanswered. Where are the people in this story? If society is a body, what gives it life? What do individuals think, feel, and mean when they act? That missing dimension was what Max Weber tried to bring back. He wanted to understand not just how society stays together, but how it feels to live inside it. Max Weber lived in early 20th century Germany, a world of bureaucracy, technology, and rational planning. He looked at both Marx and Durkheim and said they are looking at society from above, as if people were just parts of a machine. Weber wanted to bring the focus back to the individual. His main question was, what meanings guide people's actions? He said, society exists only because people act toward one another with meaning. He called this social action, behavior that takes others into account. For example, going to work can mean many things. For one person, it may mean earning money. For another, it may mean serving God, or maybe supporting family, or finding self-respect, dignity. The action looks the same, but the meaning is different. This is why Weber believed sociology should not only measure structures but also understand meanings. He called his approach Verstehen, understanding social life from the point of view of those living it. So, to summarize, if Marx gave sociology its energy and Durkheim gave it its structure, Weber gave it its soul, the human side of social life. Marx talked about power, who controls what. Durkheim talked about order, how society stays together. And Weber talked about meaning, how people make sense of their actions. Together they build sociology, not as three competing theories, but as a long conversation about human life. Next time you read about something like unemployment, think of them. If you look at data about the economy, probably you are thinking like Durkheim. If you focus on inequality and exploitation, you are using Marx lens. And if you try to understand how it feels to be unemployed, you are following Weber here. The story of sociology is not about three old theoretical perspectives. It is about three voices still talking to each other even today. If you have liked this video, please like and comment. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you.